Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have you attended any of our previous webinars? All right, Sarah did. What about the others? Yashumi, yes, as well. Brilliant. Great. So how was the experience? Were you able to practice what we've learned in the previous webinars? I don't remember if you have the license or not, so share with us. That's great, Sarah. Yeah, I hope it was a positive one that you shared with your team. Yeah, sure. The team is definitely going to send you an email um, with the links to the webinars, whatever you registered on. PowerShell command, the one for the branding library. Oh yes, yes. It does make your life easier. It makes you focus on what matters, focus on the important parts, other than wasting your time drafting stuff from scratch. It will help you speed up your work and reach efficiency, effectiveness, and have some room for you to be creative. Because if you don't have the time, um, then you won't have the time to be creative and think and so on. Right? Let's test. Um, let's test who are our audience through an image. Right? I'm going to show you an image, and then you're going to tell me what colors do you see on the screen. That's the image. You tell me what's the color that of the shoe and what color is the lace. Okay, Sarah sees pink and white. What about the rest? Feel free to speak. And and if you spoken earlier, my audio settings was not configured well. I can hear you now. Zishan Abbas. What do you see? There are only five of us in this call, so we should be more engaged and interactive. So we agreed on our previous sessions that to maximize the benefit out of those calls, we need them to be engaging, right? So interact with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know how can we help. So everyone sees light pink and white or bluish. No one sees another color. I mean, usually when I run this activity, I get a lot of people who sees bluish, let's say Tiffany, and so on. And the rest of them, of course, they see pink and white. So let me explain. There are a couple of theories on the internet about this. One theory says, well, it's just your brain adjust the lighting and then just choose a color for you, right? There you go. We have Iman sees a different color. But the other theory says this picture can determine which brain is dominant, which part of your brain is dominant. Is it the right part or the left part? So if you're seeing pink, it means your right brain is dominant, which is the brain responsible for creativity, right? Thinking out of box music and so on. But then if you're seeing light green, Tiffany, and all those shades, then your left brain is dominant. It doesn't mean مخكم شمال. It means that's the brain responsible for analysis, yeah, being analytic, being looking at the details, math, language, and so on. But that doesn't mean your other part of the brain is not working. It just means that one part is more dominant. Yeah. Funny enough, I have a friend of mine. Um, who saw this picture. I've sent it to her while she was at work. So she's seen light green and gray. But then when she looked at the picture again at home, she saw it completely pink. So all I can say is Subhanallah. Yeah, you're right. We have more people joining. I'm just waiting for one resource down to start the session. Just allow me a minute. There you go. All right. So our session today is about prompting, right? So the focus is prompting. And when we say prompting, we're talking about how to write an effective prompt, how to write a prompt using prompt engineering techniques. So before we delve into the details of prompt engineering, for those who have never used Copilot, very much like to get you started with Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So first of all, I'm going to skip this part of the video, all right? So Copilot is, or Microsoft 365 Copilot is part of your ecosystem. It's part of your daily applications, all right? You find it in Word, you find it in Excel, you'll find it everywhere where you use Microsoft 365 applications. So it's another large language model, similar to GPT. It's just this one is more secure than ChatGPT, all right? Because what happens is when Microsoft collabed with OpenAI and invested in ChatGPT, ChatGPT created a copy of their model into a separate instance. And now Copilot is using this separate instance. We're not using the same exact ChatGPT available for the public. All right. So Microsoft has a separate instance of ChatGPT based on where they can apply their responsible AI policies and rules on. And now Copilot is using this separate instance. On top of this, Copilot doesn't send your data for the model to train, so it keeps your data on your prem and then it works on it. So security-wise, checked. So when we're talking about whether you're a Copilot ready at your organization or not, first of all, you're gonna need a license, right? You're gonna need to require the Microsoft 365 Copilot license, right? And then you can add it to whoever has an account under Entra ID. And where the Entra ID is the new name for Active Directory. So if you have an email, an account within your domain, you're good to go. And then OneDrive should be enabled for all those accounts beside the Microsoft 365 apps. If you have all of this checked, you're ready to get the license and start working with Microsoft 365 Copilot. But for those who doesn't have the license, my question to you, do you have Copilot on your phones? Do you have Microsoft 365 Copilot on your mobile devices? Right, right. A lot of yeses. Nice, nice, great. Which version of Copilot on your phone? Ta-da. Did you know that they come in two versions? Of course, I believe you do, because when you went to download them and you wrote Copilot, both of them appeared, right? So the one which is called Copilot, that's the consumer version. That's version for those who doesn't have the license, right? So they use the web version of Copilot, the free version. And then the M365, thank you, Ankit. It's for those who have the license where you can access your work data and corporate data and so on. So if you don't have it on your phone, download it now. If you don't have the license, just download the consumer version. And there is one more feature that the consumer version has, we still don't have it under Microsoft 365, which is the ability to speak to Copilot. There will be a mic button like ChatGPT experience. You click on it and then speak to the dude, and then it will reply to you by voice. All right. Moving on. Now, how Microsoft 365 Copilot works? Well, it uses LLM, it uses natural language processing, all right? So what I want to highlight here, I'm not going to go word by word, is that it understands the context, all right, when you speak to it. It knows that a sentence like children running happily at the park is the same as children playing joyfully at the park. All right, so it understands the context. It will transform the way you work. Once you get the license, trust me, you will never search for anything anymore. I'll give you one example that I have used today, right? So I was working on something, and then I remembered that we have a new branding in place for our company, Technology. So I was like, okay, what was the email that has the branding templates and all the files? Now I need to go to Outlook and try to remember what was the topic or what was the subject. But no, not with Microsoft Copilot. So I went to Copilot and I asked Copilot, um, there we go. What was the branding library and templates email we received? And then boom, it fetched that information from the Outlook. One time I go like, okay, X sent me this document, and you fetch it for me, and then it gets me the information. You will never search for anything. You will never start drafting from scratch. Copilot is there to help. All right, so it will transform the way you work. All right. No, this is it. Now, for a deeper anatomy, this is how it works. For those who attended the previous sessions, this might be more interesting to you. So what happens is as follows. First of all, let me just zoom in. There's some of you are using their phones. Let me get my laser pointer. Right. So, amigos, first of all, what happens is you send a prompt, user prompt to Copilot, right? Now, Copilot, based on the prompt and based on the settings, it will determine whether to get the data from the internet, yeah, or from your data. It could be connected to Dataverse, it could be connected to any other sources, right? So it will determine from where to get the data. Maybe it will get the data from Microsoft 365 documents, OneDrive, SharePoint, and so on, and that's where it goes to Microsoft Graph to fetch that data. So once it prepared from where it will get the data, now it sends the prompt, all right, to, remember the separate instance we spoke about from OpenAI? Now it sends that prompt to OpenAI and it applies responsible AI on it, right? It doesn't just get the details immediately. What it works on, it makes sure that the generated data will be fair, inclusive, transparent, not harmful, and so on. So that's RAI or responsible AI from the Azure OpenAI service. Apply this capability on the prompt and then work on fetching the data from Microsoft Graph or any other source. So that's the anatomy of Copilot in a very short way. Any questions so far? Check your chat here. All right, no questions. Let's carry on. So, amigos, when we talk about LLMs, basically it understands, it allows human beings to interact with those models using natural language. I'm just gonna shorten it this way, all right? And because of the natural language processing, what happens is as follows. You think Copilot goes to every document and then retrieve the document immediately when you run a prompt? Then you're mistaken. What happens is Copilot already indexed all of those documents in what we call a vector index. Okay, what happens is it went inside every document and then extracted the information from the document, and then it creates a some sort of an index based on context. So for instance, what happens is, remember when we said, okay, let's say the word cat, okay, it will take a place on the index, and then next to it, there will be the word dog. Why are they next to each other? while car is far away because Copilot understands the context and understands that these two are of a similar category. So it put them together. So what happens is to create this index, the index is created in a semantic way, all right? So where the context is applied, where the meaning is understood, right? So it builds this index, and then whenever you run a prompt, it retrieves the data from the index. It tries to understand again, okay, is this similar? He's looking for something that says infotech. Is infotech as same as IT, as same as information technology? Well, yes, they all are different synonyms to the same department. That's what happens. And then to access your data, it will use Microsoft Graph do so. And Microsoft Graph is basically an API layer that access all of your Microsoft 365 documents. All right. Remember when we said responsible AI, let's see how Microsoft is committed to responsible AI. Well, um, any Microsoft's AI integration actually follows key principles. These are the principles in front of you here. So when you say fairness, well, Microsoft is striving to eliminate biases for equal treatment of all users, bias in the data and bias in the responses and so on. And then you have, let me pause here and tell you a story. Well, there is a famous story of this lady who created a machine learning algorithm for facial recognition. This algorithm ended up recognizing every face except her face. Yeah. Even when she put a mask in front of the camera, the algorithm recognized the face, but when she looks at the camera, no face. So that was not fair. So she went to the foundational models that trained this algorithm, and she found that the initial training data was biased. Most of the data were for faces of white men, and this lady was, you get the right, a black woman, right? The minority of the training data set. Hence, the algorithm now is not fair and biased. So reliability and safety is the second pillar here. So Microsoft keeps testing the AI and the performance and the responses to make sure that you get a safe AI. Next, we have privacy and security. Well, Microsoft is committed to safeguarding your data, user data, in all phases. When you save them, they're all encrypted all the time. If you look at Copilot in Teams, for instance, you will see this one here says enterprise data protection. One more example is that if you generate a content in Word document and then you leveraged or you added or you referenced a confidential document, the generated document will automatically have the label confidential. So it understands your data classification and sensitivity labels, and it applies them for you automatically. All right. Next is inclusiveness. Well, Microsoft is trying to craft AI tools for accessibility and benefits for everyone. Transparency. Keeping users informed about AI systems and their purpose. As you can see, we've seen the structure, we've seen how AI works, we've seen the anatomy. So Microsoft is transparent when it comes to the structure and the usability. And then lastly is accountability. You cannot just blame it on the AI. When the AI generates a wrong answer, you cannot just say, "Oh, that's the AI mistake." No. So Microsoft trying to create an AI model adhering to ethical and legal standards. So they are holding their developers accountable for the responses of the AI. Do you have any question? So if you don't have any question, then let's see what can I do with Microsoft 365 Copilot for those who's never seen Copilot. All right. In short, well, you can summarize documents. You can in Word, for instance, you can open Microsoft Word and then start drafting by typing whatever or describing what you want Copilot to generate. Once the content is generated, you can keep it, you can regenerate it, you can delete it, and every time you regenerate, it would remember the history of the generated content. All right, the color here. So it will remember the history of the generated content, and then you can go back. If you want to modify the initial prompt that you started with, then you click on this pencil, and then it will modify the initial prompt. That's in Word. It's pretty much the same when it comes to Copilot and other applications. It still can create something or generate content or summarize and so on. But then beside this interface, there is the Copilot panel that exists on the Home tab of every application, or most of them at least. And this panel will allow you to write prompts in here to explain what you want, but then the generated content will not appear on the document itself. It will appear on the panel in here. Yeah, you can add an image, for instance. You can add an image and ask Copilot to extract the text. You can look at the prompt library. You can reference files. If your Copilot is extended, let's say you have this third-party application within your organization, and it's not part of Microsoft Graph or Microsoft 365, so Copilot cannot see the data. Yeah, it could be a CRM on SAP or ERP on SAP, SAP, and so on. So your developers can create what we call either a graph connector or a plugin, and those plugins will appear here. Okay, they will appear here. This is where you see a plugin. And of course, in some applications, I can use the mic and talk to Copilot. In short, what I can do in Word is to generate content, summarize, and then ask questions about the document, have conversation with your document. Next, Outlook. Well, in Outlook, I can summarize threads of emails. I can draft a new email, or I can catch up with what I've missed, all right, as questions and so on. As well as PowerPoint, where you can create a new presentation. And this new presentation could be a presentation from a file or a presentation about a topic, right? And then you can ask questions and summarize the existing presentation and so on. When it comes to Excel, well, Copilot can suggest new columns, new formula columns to enhance your data. Or maybe it will show you data insights and graphs and so on. Or maybe it will summarize your data through pivot tables and pivot charts. And we've seen this in previous webinars. It can highlight cells, filter cells, sort cells, pretty much most of the things that the end user do in Excel, Copilot can do it. Or you can ask questions and then Copilot shows you either how to do it or a formula to do it based on your data. And then there is a new addition to this family here. You will find on your Copilot, which is, it will be right here exactly. Running advanced analysis where Copilot will use will use Python code in order to answer your questions and write a report for you. Copilot in Teams can actually help you before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting, right? So we have a range of things that can be done in Copilot in Teams. Like for instance, what did X, my colleague, say about the quarterly budget, all right? And then it will answer you from your conversation with your colleague and so on. Has the new marketing strategy been discussed yet? And then it will try to fetch this information from all of your emails, conversations, and so on. Could you suggest a question for me to ask about the project timeline, and then will help you look smart and ask questions and all of that. So before the meeting, it can help you to prep for the meeting, like creating agendas and so on, list of questions to ask. During the meeting, it can recap meeting, answer your question, highlight what people say during the meeting. After the meeting, it can generate um, minutes of meeting action items, tasks, and summaries, and so on. So the one we've seen in Teams, the Copilot we've seen in Teams here, we call this Copilot Chat, all right? Copilot Chat. It's the same Copilot Chat available in office.com and within your tenant. All right? Now, if the off-shelf capabilities of Copilot is not enough for your scenario, you can extend Microsoft Copilot, and that's what we're talking about, optimizing and extending Microsoft 365 Copilot. Extending means adding new skills and new capabilities to Copilot. So let me begin with best practices for using Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? These are the best practices. First of all, when you're writing prompts, please be clear and concise, all right? Mention the instructions that you want. You're creating a training outlines. Tell Copilot how do you want to structure it. I'm going to go with executive overview and then learning outcome and then the detailed session plan and so on, right? Trust is going to do a good job of verify all the time. As we say in security, trust no one, verify everything. All right. So, Gen AI tools tend to make mistakes sometimes and hallucinate. And then you always have to provide regular feedback. None of us provide regular feedback. There is a thumb up, thumb down after each prompt. How would Copilot learn that this is what you like or this is what, or you didn't like this unless you provide the feedback, all right? So keep using those thumb up and thumb down to provide the feedback and train the model on when it does a good job or not. And then don't please over rely on Copilot. Let me ask you a question to prove this, because that's the problem that comes with technology in general. How many of you right now remembers or memorized by heart 10 phone numbers? Raise your hand if you remember or memorized 10 phone numbers. You know them by heart. You can, boom, immediately dial them. Raise your hand if you can recall 10 mobile numbers. I don't see no hand. Yeah. Most of them are Qatar emergency phone numbers like 111 and small digits, right? Um, my point is, back in the days when the phone was like this, yeah, we used to memorize all the numbers that we want to call. But then that's the downside of technology because now we know I don't need to remember any number. I just jump into my phone list and then call whatever I want, whoever I want. So us rely on technology impact our cognitive abilities. So don't rely on Copilot. Use it to begin, all right? Use it to enhance, but don't depend on it 100%. Yes, Sheen is trying to say something. All right. Next. Well, yes. Unlock your creativity and push Copilot limits. Push it. Stress it. Test it. Okay. Anything you have in mind, try it with Copilot, so you would know the capabilities of the model. Yeah. And then, of course, prioritize privacy and security. That's he says something here on the feedback. Some author has received that has revealed that politeness from the users towards ChatGPT is costing his company millions of dollars. He recommended not saying thank you and please. Well, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna tap into that. This is official, this is recorded, but then we all have our well, look, ChatGPT, I'm gonna have to tap into this. ChatGPT is judgmental. Okay? ChatGPT judge your character based on the way you talk, okay, and then it tries to get you responses based on your character. So when you use scientific terminologies and you're very polite and so on, you will find it's elegant on its responses. But then when you're rude and so on, after a while, the responses will be affected, right? But anyway, this doesn't really matter with Copilot. It doesn't judge you. It's not judgmental. Anyway, now stay updated. Well, you've tested the model, yeah. When we said unlock your creativity, yeah. Maybe what didn't work during the testing, after a while, a new feature was introduced. So stay up to date with the features and always keep trying new features in. Now, finally, how to build an effective prompt. And as we mentioned millions times in previous webinars, this is the most important part. If you don't have these elements in your prompt, then Copilot will not know exactly what you want, and then it might not help you from the first time. You're going to have to iterate, write a prompt, see the results, write a prompt to enhance the results, write a prompt to change the way Copilot generates content and so on. But why the hassle while I can start with a goal in mind? What do you want from Copilot? For instance, I want a list of 3 to 5 bullet points, very specific, to prepare me for a meeting or something, right? So that's the goal. But then add some context, like why do you need this from Copilot? Well, I'm preparing for an upcoming meeting with, maybe mention the client name. It will fetch information about that client name. It would know the industry of that client name, all right, and so on. Focusing on their current stats of state and what they're looking to achieve. Context. But then add your expectations as well. How should Copilot respond to best fulfill your request? Do you want a table? Do you want a paragraph? Do you want an informative tone or affirmative tone or friendly manner and so on? So you go like respond with a tone that is friendly but authoritative. Format the response as a table, right? And so on. Source. Specify from where the data should be retrieved. Is it a certain document that's from your organization or from the web? And even from the web, what website do you want Copilot to get the data from? Email and team chat with these particular people over the last 2 weeks, specific. So these are the following steps to highlight the most important things to consider while building prompts using prompt engineering techniques. So start with the end in mind. Okay, that's what I want, and then explain how do you want it and from where, and then set the stage. Give Copilot some context, and then define any parameters like okay, email, Teams chat. That's what I want it from. And then tailor it to suit your target audience. Simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. These are the prompting best practices. So clear and concise prompts, checked. Yeah. Experiment with different styles. For instance, when you're generating images, you can generate images in Disney style or cartoon or 3D or so explore. as well as the tone in the language and the style. Give Copilot your point of view from which to answer. Start with personas, for instance. Say to Copilot, you are a project manager who runs the PMO office. Then start strategizing with Copilot. It will understand you better when you set the persona. All right? Know what to avoid when creating a prompt. Avoid being vanilla or overly general prompts. Like you don't go like, okay, generate a product description for a water bottle. No, because Copilot now does not know your competitive advantage for this product. Did you get the water from, I don't know what falls, or maybe the plastic is recyclable? Copilot doesn't know. So you have to be more specific within your prompt. And don't cram too many questions into one prompt. Prompting is like programming. So line by line, break the problem into smaller problems. And work, I'm sorry for that, and work on the smaller problems and so on. And don't assume Copilot has the context. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. So provide examples. There is something called few shots learning. Take a look at it. Review prompting best practice. There you go. Well, we're still here. So understand the limitation of the model so you would know what to do and what to avoid. Right? And there we go. Be polite. Say thank you. And please. All right. One day those tools might conquer the world. So be ready. And be curious, all right? Ask questions. Ask Copilot for its chain of thoughts. When Copilot generates an answer, challenge Copilot. Ask Copilot based on what criteria you achieved that conclusion or you reached that conclusion. And then Copilot will tell you, oh, I thought of 1, 2, 3, 4. Because now you can change the way Copilot thinks if Copilot thinks wrong. Yeah. If it decided to, let me tell you something. An HR may upload a couple of CVs into Copilot and then upload the job description and then ask Copilot to choose the best candidate. And Copilot will happily choose the best candidate. Based on what? Is it only the number of years of experience? Is it because Copilot thinks they're better? Well, you're going to need to ask Copilot to explain to you its chain of thoughts, ending with its conclusion. All right? And it's an iterative approach. So iterate, right? Write a prompt, see the result, enhance, until you learn how to write an effective prompt from all the enhancements. And then you can copy all of those enhancements and put them in one prompt and then save it somewhere where you can use it later if you need. Now, if the off-shelf capability is not enough for you, you still can extend Microsoft Copilot. Remember when we said Microsoft Copilot access Microsoft Graph in order to get the files from Microsoft 365 and so on? Well, we can create a graph connector and then connect Microsoft Graph with other third-party applications. They will all be connected to Microsoft Graph, which means they will obey and apply the security applied on Microsoft Graph. You don't need to program the security on this connector. All right, so hassle-free. On top of Graph connectors, you can create what we call Copilot agents. Yeah, and those agents are the scientific name for them is declarative copilots. These are custom-built agents tailored to specific tasks, which means you can create an HR copilot, a finance copilot, IT help desk copilot, okay, incident response copilot, or incidents logging copilot, or frequently asked questions copilot. These are different agents. How to create them? Well, either through Copilot Studio, okay, or AI Studio, or you can even write code if you use if you're a developer, you want to type you want to write C sharp JavaScript to create web services and so on. You still can do that. BB, whatever .NET SDK that you using, you can use it to create declarative Copilot, or simply create a plugin. Add a capability to Copilot by adding a plugin. The Copilot knows its job, but then it does not know how to access your on-prem developed application and get the data from there. Because if this data was saved in SQL Server, for instance, or Azure SQL Server, Copilot can easily connect to it if you create the connection. But then if it's a third party, a separate database and so on, you still can create a plugin to fetch the data from there. Right? As it says here, these agents connect Copilot to external services through APIs. Or you can create a team message extension through Teams tools, all right, where Copilot will work within Microsoft Teams and extend the capability. Right? It's a plugin at the end. And you will use Copilot to do most of Copilot Studio to do most of these. But we use code mainly to do this. Do you have any questions so far? No? Someone is typing. Oh, yes, be my guest. I will. I will. Just a second. I'll share with you the documentation. Press the link here in the chat window. All right, this walks you through the architecture and how it works in more detail. And then you can, this is your beginning, and then you can take it from there. There are additional links for graph and so on, and there are more related content here if you want to know more about data protection, auditing architecture, how to deploy it, data privacy and security for Copilot. So everything is here. All right. I hope I answered your question. Anytime I get. All right. Now, the first thing that we can do is summarizing it. So I'll share with you one online resource that has an activity that you can use in order to summarize with Copilot, right? And for this activity, you would need to download those documents to use. But those who has the license can actually do that, right? And remember this part, right? Where you mentioned that we start with the goal, summarize this Word document, but then some context with a brief overview of the main points to discuss with my team. So that's why you want it. And then some sources, the action on competitive analysis. Then your expectation, please keep the summary to 5 key points and use simple language and ending with this final prompt. All right. That is to simplify and extract key information. But then if you want to identify key information and summarize with Copilot in PowerPoint, maybe you go like, okay, summarize this PowerPoint presentation, and that's the context. Yeah. For my boss, that includes an overview of the main points before meeting with their client. So in 5 to 10 PowerPoint slides. And please format that main points as bulleted list and use a professional tone because you're meeting the client. You see, same technique, different apps, it works, right? So let's try it out. Let's begin with Word. I begin with Word. I just need to switch to my training channel. All right. And let me search for one of the files used on this exercise. Let's say market. Digital marketing, none of these. Maybe I would go for trends. All right, look at this. So this analysis is actually created by Copilot. So let me show you how I've done it. This is more than what we want to do. Well, you know what? Let's begin with the sample prompt that we've seen, and then I'll show you some extra stuff. So what I need to do now, I have a table and I have some analysis for it, but I want to summarize all of this. I don't want it. I don't have time to read all of this. So I'm going to go to Copilot, and then in Copilot here, I'm going to throw my prompts, and you've seen this prompt. We've read it together. I simply want to summarize, right? That's the goal. Okay, I want to summarize Copilot. Okay, and then I'm setting some expectation to get more out of Copilot. All right. This is the part where I'm setting the expectation. All right. And sales leaving. I guess we're good. All right, let me just get rid of these. To summarize this document, before review, main points to discuss with my team during the next meeting. Send to Copilot. Could have said summarize, but then I would get the result that I want now because I added some context. So here is the summary. Right? Copilot goes like, sure, I'll be happy to do so. And then there you go, self performance analysis. That's what happens, social media engagement, online search, strategic insights. And that's what would your customer or client want. But then let me tell you how I came up with this text in the first place. What I did is, I don't know if I've showed you this in a previous webinar or not, but that was a question that I usually get. During demos. All right, so basically what I did, the document was like this. I just highlighted everything in here, and then I clicked on the Copilot icon, and I asked Copilot to analyze this document, some context for my executive management meeting. All right, use business terms and avoid technical marketing terms. This could be an IT document, and I really want to avoid technical terms. Right, I'm putting that here as an example of context. All right, and then expectation. end with your recommendation for the date sales recommendation to enhance the sales revenue. Yeah, just from the top of my head. So this was my prompt. I'm sending this to Copilot, the sales revenue. So I'm going to click on generate. Once I click on generate, the content will be generated down here. Got my intro, all right, executives like their executive overview, sales trend, that's what happened, key observation, all right, and then recommendation. Then I'm going to click on keep it. And then maybe I would highlight this recommendation and then go to Copilot and go like visualize as a table. And then I would get, I'm just demoing through different capabilities to summarize content. But that's the maximum that it can do with this type of data. Yeah. But if I select something like this and visualize as a table, I would get better. I mean, not better, but more columns. Yeah. That's the category, peak month, and then units sold, use and searches. I mean, I can keep that for another view, for a different view. If you want to read text, feel free. If you want to see it summarized, this here. That was a quick way to summarize in Word. So let's see the same in PowerPoint, right? Just downloading the document that they wanted me to download. And meanwhile, I will go to my PowerPoint. And you all know, for my Copilot to see this document, I need to save it in OneDrive for business. So once it's downloaded, I'm going to save it there. I'm just going to check if I already have it or not. Mistake. I don't have it. By the time it gets downloaded, let me open up something else. Okay, DL900. So it's getting downloaded from OneDrive because it's an online document. And then we will apply it here. Why am I doing this? Because if I upload this to OneDrive, it will take a minute or so, a couple of minutes for Copilot to understand this document. And apparently, I don't have much of PowerPoints on my training demo folder. Some of them are in Arabic. So this is almost there. So just to remind you what we're about to do is trying to apply prompt engineering and summarize the slides, and then add some context, then work on the talk. Similar to what we did in Word. All right. You know what? Oh, yeah. This is not on OneDrive. At least not on this one, but I can switch to this one. Let me switch account and let's use the same training deck that we're using. for with Copilot if it will allow me. It's not allowing me because it's running from inside a zip file. Read only, see? See, we're exploring options together. We're seeing issues and we're solving them. It's read only, so that's why Copilot will not see it or will not work with it. This one is downloaded. Let's upload it. So it's been uploaded. Let's see if Copilot will quickly see it or not. Switching tenants. And then stick and open open go and you browse for it. It's under this one here, MY Mystic Premium. There we go. All right, another still opening. Try it again. Let me close it here. Close this one and try again. Got some issues today, huh? Come on. No other application is having this one open. So, my bad, guys. Okay, this one, we'll use this one. We'll use this presentation, not the one we downloaded. As long as Copilot is here, this is a presentation deck that talks about Power BI, yeah, and Power Platform and so on. So what we want to do is to summarize this one, okay? So I'm going to use the history and paste my prompts. There we go. We want to summarize this presentation, and you've seen this prompt. We've read it before. We're changing the tone. We're specifying a range of bullet points. Okay, we're specifying the range of slides we want to summarize from 5, okay, till 10. Why not? Let's go for it. And that's possible as well. Slide 5, what is Power BI? That was the slide, right? And here is the summary, slide 6 and slide 7. And that was a proof that I can really control the generated prompt, generated result based on my prompt. Do you have any question? Anything you'd like to see? Sorry? Say that again, please. No? Okay, I have an activity for you. I need you all to go to copilot.microsoft.com. Let me know when you access this one. I'm using the free Copilot because not all of us has a license. So do let me know when you access this one, or use Copilot on your mobile device. The internet is acting on me today. acting up. So did you access Copilot? Can you please let me know? Because it's taking time, I'm going to switch to Copilot chat, but to have the same experience as yours, I will switch to web. Yeah? Let's hear from the rest of you. Okay. Take a look at this. If you don't know how to write a prompt or you want a better prompt, you're lazy enough to add goal, context, expectation, and all of that, you can ask Copilot. So simply, let's say, I want you to, or just say, write a prompt to generate an image of an owl reading a book on the cloud. It must be a real image and with high quality. Cinematic aesthetic, right? Cinematic aesthetic. All right, so what am I doing? Cinematic, yes, aesthetic. Anything else? No, that's it. That's my prompt. But I'm gonna do one thing. Instead of write a prompt, copy this. I'm gonna ask Copilot to generate the image this way. Real image with high quality, cinematic aesthetic. I did add some powerful context of what I want. Yeah. And I'm gonna send it to Copilot. And meanwhile, next, I'm gonna on another chat window by the time Copilot generates this image, right? I'm gonna go to another chat window and I'm gonna ask Copilot to write the prompt for me. Okay. Now, one of the techniques we use with prompt engineering is what we call sectioning. So maybe you write your goal and then you add a section by adding 3 hyphens or 3 hashtags. That's a section. Okay. That structures your prompt better. So that's what I want. And then maybe down, I want to add more instructions to Copilot. Maybe the context will be down here. Maybe another section for the source, all right? That will structure your prompt better. And here, I'm directing Copilot to use prompt engineering to write an effective prompt. Maybe more context, add a goal, expectations, context, and source. All right. And let me add context. Well, first of all, I'm going to say, I will use this image as a cover for my new book I'm publishing or I'm writing, whatever. That's your prompt. Okay. It is what I got. Nice one. Very nice. You see the touches that the shade. Okay, let me show you. This is what was shared by Zishan. Okay. So if we did not type real image, we will leave it to Copilot to decide about the style. Whether it was one time it will generate it in 3D, one time real, one time computer graphics, and so on. Computer art, but we said real. And then the dark areas you see at the edge, and the focus is on this one, a blurry background. That's because we said cinematic aesthetic. So these are these keywords, they add flavor. It's like using your Instagram filters, yeah, but with text. So let me send this to Copilot to generate the prompt for me. Let's take a look from the history. Meanwhile, at the previous created from the image, right? It said shortly, but then it never created. Okay. Let me do that again. Okay, it's asking me if I wanted to um, to proceed generating the image. And then it asked me whether I wanted to create the image or fetch images online. Um, so I just said yes. I think it understood that I mean generate the image. Okay, just wait for it. It uses designer. This designer exists here as well. It would be even better if you go to the visual design creator and then design your images over there, right? Because this one has what we call system messages. It's pre-prompted with certain prompts to generate better images. So this one uses that one, and there we go. I got the images. All right. I can explore them. I can edit them. Right. And that's the job, the prompt that or the description of the images that you got. Okay. So I can download it and generate it with AI. It's tagged. Here is the preview, the feedback that I told you about. You like it, you dislike it. So let's see the prompt. Now, if it was for Copilot, that when we asked for this, like certainly, here is the goal, here is the expectation. You want to modify the expectation and context and source. And then here is the final prompt. Create a high quality, realistic image of a wise owl reading a book while, and so on. More details. Cloud, the scene should have a cinematic aesthetic, all right, with soft and so on. I'm going to share this prompt here for you to use. And I'm going to run the prompt here now for Copilot to use. While I keep it for you here to read it. Nice one. Hiya. Don't get me wrong, but Copilot knows you're a lady. That's why we created this one. Yeah, moonish and cute. But my owl was rigid. You see, nothing cute about it. Nice one, Haya. Well done. All right. So yes, so these are the ones generated by the prompt of Copilot. You see more details in the owl itself. Yeah. And it's better. So now you can modify. You can go like, okay, I want the background to be one and so and one and so and so. And there you go. You got your realistic image. Okay. It does, isn't she? Doesn't she? Okay. And then you can follow up. Can I add more elements to the image? What style options do you have for this image? You see, but don't run two questions at the same prompt. And if you run one by one, right? Background elements and so on. Okay, let's add a starry night sky and include lantern beside it and make it look more magical. Okay, more magical and use Harry Potter theme, right? How do you spell Potter? Harry Potter. All right, and let's see what I get. So whatever it wants, include wording that may be violating designer code. Harry Potter. That's the problem. Right? That it doesn't like. So responsible AI, remember, let's just keep it magical. So you cannot create an image and ask Copilot to go like, okay, create an image that looks, someone that looks like Obama. No way. You're violating the rules. The most welcome hire. And then explore different styles, guys. Let me say, um, what image styles other than realistic can use? Or, okay, list them all down. Here is the prompt for you to use. And here is the result. You can go for realistic, you can go for cartoon, all right, illustrative, abstract, and so on. Vintage, watercolor, pixel art, comic book, oil painting, sketch, you name it. We have 25 neon, we have 25 style that you can use, right? Now, the actual activity is to write a prompt to generate, can you chat? Help me write a prompt to generate a lesson about prompt engineering, listing all methods, of writing an effective prompt. So the idea is to use Copilot to help you learn about prompt engineering, like sectioning and view charts, learning, etc. There you go. Title: Master Prompt Engineering Techniques for Crafting Effective Prompts. That's an intro, and then understand. We got some definitions. All right, we got some applications, and then techniques for writing effective prompts, clarity and specification, sectioning, how to do it. Yeah, but it would be nice if it can provide some examples for every technique. That would be a better prompt. You see, iterate, iterate, iterate. But if you thought well on your prompt at the beginning before just writing it, you would have included examples and so on. Just visualize what you want as a final result. And as if you're speaking to a personal assistant, tell them exactly what you want and how you want it. Right? So, all right. Section 2, technical writing effect prompt, clarity, and here is the example. clarity, here is the example. Instead of asking, tell me about climate change, you could ask, explain the main cause of climate change and impact on global temperature over the past century. Yeah. And then sectioning some examples, right? So please add this to your prompt, right? You see, sectioning can be used on how use learning, contextual information, iterative refinement, constraint and guidelines, role playing, all right, and so on. Commit with fall avoid, all right. All right. Add a part about system messages for Copilot. And then there we go. Understanding, prompting, techniques, sectioning, resource learning, contextual information, role playing. Couple of examples. See? So in short, let Copilot teach you how to teach you how to use Copilot. And ask Copilot for help in writing prompts that would yield the better results from Copilot. All right. I'm assuming you're doing this on the free version of Copilot. I'm just gonna copy everything on this response and paste it here for you in the chat window, just in case you didn't try it or you're watching the this will not appear in the recording, but it's there for you for now. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? No? All right. Then we've reached the conclusion of or the end of our session for today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us, allowing us the time to walk you through the details of how to write an effective prompt. We will not stop here. We want to share with you an online training course where it will walk you through the details about the topics that we discussed today. All right. And to do so, meanwhile, we will, at the same time, we will share with you a certificate and a badge for you to redeem and add to your profile. So what I will do now, I will generate this link and send it to you on the chat window. The minute you click on the link, all right, it will take you to your Microsoft Learn profile. And if this is the first time, it will ask you to create and activate the profile. But if it's not, and you're signed in already, like me, you will immediately get redeem your code. You click on redeem, and then it will add the course and the badge to your profile. Let me walk you on how to do it. By the time when you click view profile, you click on learning path, and then the new course would appear in here. Okay, it might take a while, but then it can appear in here under learning path, under courses, actually here under courses, you will get craft effective prompts for Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, hear me out. If you click on the link, which I will open on a new tab now, it takes you straight to the training course, so you can carry on learning. All right. You would have a couple of modules getting started with Copilot and then creating effective prompts. And the exercises we've done together available in here. You see several modules. And if you want to try how to craft with Copilot or edit or transform with Copilot, you click on this one. It takes you to the exercise and then the explanation part or the theory part. So if you click on the exercise, for instance, it will take you to the files that you need to download to use, and then it will walk you step by step through the exercise. View for tone and so on, and text to table and everything we've done and more, right? So that if you click on the link, but if you want to see your certificate, you click on the print here icon, and then it will take you to your certificate. So when you create your profile, make sure you type your name correctly because it will appear on the certificate the way you typed it. Once you're done activating the certificate, we would like to hear from you about the training session. We would very much like to hear your feedback on how did you find this session through the link I shared with you or by scanning the QR code. Trainer name, as the spelling suggests, you can call me AI man or Ayman, feel free. Um, do those two activities. And thank you again for joining us. And if you have any question in the future, please feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to help and assist. If you've completed the redemption of your certificate and the evaluation form or the feedback form, feel free to drop from the call so we would know who's still doing it and we provide them with the help needed. And Ankit, please do check the architecture and get back to me if you have any question. Link me up, link me in, and we'll take the discussion offline. So did you manage to redeem everything and complete the feedback form? Do you have any question for me? If no questions, then okay, Sarah is typing. You're welcome, Sarah. Thanks for the feedback. I hope you enjoyed my flight. Thank you for being here. Wish you all the best. Salam.